We're going to start with a little shake, bounce, wiggle. So you can start shaking, bouncing, wiggling in your own style. You might start taking some deep, deep breaths as you do this. And I want to say, if you have any trouble hearing me or if the sound is weird, please do let me know. We were fiddling with the sound a little this morning. You can get as bouncy and wiggly as you like. And while we're bouncing and wiggling and shaking, I want to share a quote with you. It's a quote from Jacoby Ballard, who was one of my yoga teacher training teachers. And he is a really wonderful activist, yoga teacher, educator. He says, it's a political act to keep ourselves alive, to love ourselves as we are, and to work toward loving all of humanity in all of its various expressions. So you can slow down your jiggling and bouncing and wiggling as you're ready and come back to whatever stance you like, whatever seat you like, whatever you like, some sort of stillness. Just maybe take a moment to think about, what does that quote mean to you? I mean, I think right now, it's a pretty powerful thing to think about. We're heading into this new administration and things are going to be potentially different. So maybe if we can all kind of think about that idea of really being who we are, to really embrace who we are, and to embrace a quality of ahimsa, this idea of non-harming, and more than non-harming, active kindness, working towards accepting and loving and respecting everyone as they are. And as they are doesn't mean being an asshole. When someone is being a certain way, they're being a certain way. That's not who they are. That's how they're acting. So I think those are two distinctions we can make. But really loving and embracing everyone with all our differences. And really starting with ourselves. And then come to the front of your mat. Find mountain pose, whatever version of mountain you like, legs together, apart, whatever feels stable and strong to you. You can turn your palms forward or not. And then sweep your arms up, reach all the way up. You might look up, hinging from your hips, fold forward, come into your version of a forward fold, whether that is a half forward fold with a flat back or a full forward fold. Legs can be straight or they can be bent. Next time you inhale, come into a half forward fold if you're not already there. And then if a full forward fold works for you, fold forward again. When you're ready, roll your spine all the way up. And if rolling your spine up doesn't work, you can come up with a flat back. Once you are vertical, if you're not dizzy, you can sweep your arms up. If you're dizzy, squeeze your hands together. And then when you're ready, fold forward again. If you want to find a little movement in your forward fold, you can do that. Shifting your body around, noticing what you feel.
If you're not in a half forward fold, on your next inhale, come into a half forward fold. And then if you like, fold forward again, all the way down. And then make your way back up to standing, maybe with a flat back, maybe lifting your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana. Press your palms together wherever they are. Bring them to heart center. Notice how you're feeling. From here, bring all your weight into your right leg. You can do anything you want with your arms. Lift your left knee up. You can place a hand somewhere for balance. And then step your left leg back so you're in a long lunge. Find your footing. You can keep your back heel up or you could spin it down. Keeping it up might prove an extra balance challenge, but you're in a version of Warrior One or High Lunge here. What do you want to do with your arms? Do you want to take up some space? Do you want to come into cactus arms? Maybe you want to make fists and flex. It's up to you. What feels right to you? What is going to be supportive for you right now? And then make your way back to the front of your mat in whatever way works for you. And we'll try that on the other side. As you're ready, bring all of your weight into your left foot. Lift your right knee up. Find some balance here. Again, a hand could always be supporting you at the wall or somewhere else. And then step your right leg back. Find your high lunge, your Warrior One, heel up or down. Your choice of arms. Make your way back to mountain pose. We're going to try that again on the first side, and I'm going to offer a couple of the other options you might try. So all of your weight into your right leg. Lift your left knee. From here, you could stay right here. You might turn your leg out, your left knee out, and bring your sole of your left foot onto your right leg for a version of tree pose. After a couple of breaths, if you're choosing that, bring your knee back to the front. Another option here, you could stay there, or you might tuck your heel in towards your butt and bend through your standing leg for a kind of a flamingo pose. This is not a traditional pose, but it's one people do. Take a few breaths, noticing the strength it takes to hold you here for the balance. And then you could either step back right into your lunge, or you might shoot that leg out behind you for a version of Warrior Three, maybe a brief one, before then setting that leg down and coming into your Warrior One. Take some really big breaths in your lunge. And when you're ready to come back into mountain pose, you could do that any way you like. And one option might be to really bring your weight into your front leg, lean forward and slowly lift your back knee up so you're back in that balance pose, and then set that foot down. Now, maybe say thank you to your right leg. That right leg has been doing a lot of work. You might shake it out a little bit. Find mountain pose. And we'll try that on the second side. So as you're ready, lift your right knee. You can either stay there or you might come into tree pose, placing the sole of that foot on your standing leg, turning your right knee out to the side. Arms can be anywhere. If your knee is out to the side, bring it back to that starting position. And then maybe come into your flamingo, bending your standing leg, tucking your right heel up towards your butt. And when you're ready, either step right back into your lunge or float your leg out for warrior three before then stepping back into your lunge as you're ready. Find your lunge, your warrior position. Really decide what is supportive to you, what is kind to you. What do you really want to do with your arms? You might want to stretch them up like a traditional warrior one. Maybe cactus arms are really your jam. And maybe something just kind of like intuitive and some movement is what you really feel like doing. Can you breathe freely here? And when you're ready, make your way back into mountain, maybe choosing to bring all your weight into your left leg and float that right knee up as you come forward. When you're ready, settle into mountain pose. Notice what you're feeling. Notice if choosing kindly for yourself is a simple task or is it something that kind of goes against your grain? And when you're ready, seaweed things out a little bit. So get soft. You could get weird. Make it feel good. And if you can't make seaweed feel good, like maybe there's something else that feels good. When you're ready, take your time coming down onto your mat. You can get there any way you like. Once you're there, have a lie down on your side. So we don't often come into this position. But you could place a forearm down and you can have your lower leg in any position that works for you. Take your upper leg. So in this case, it's my right leg. Squeeze that heel towards your butt and reach your upper arm back to see if you can grab your foot on that leg. Squeeze it in a little more so you can find a quad stretch. So maybe your quads feel a big stretch here. And notice, is that a good thing or is that not such a great thing for you? You can adjust whatever tension you're using to make it a good thing. And then make your way onto your other side in a way that feels kind and supportive. And on this side, same thing. Find that stretch in your quads. And of course, if being up on your forearm doesn't work for you, you might stretch yourself out, maybe resting your head on your arm or a pillow. What is the kind option for you? When that feels complete, make your way onto your back. Once you're on your back, come into constructive rest posture with the soles of your feet on the ground. And then cross your right leg over your left knee, as if you were sitting and just crossing your legs. And from here, you can do anything you want with your arms, but gently start rocking your knees from side to side. And you might decide that coming into a twist is a really nice thing for you to do. And if that's the case, maybe you press down through your foot, shift your hips over towards the right, and then let your knees fall down towards the left. And if this twist with crossed knees is like, ew, I don't like this, you can uncross your knees. You can try windshield wipers. You can do whatever you need to do to adjust this into something that really works for you, that really supports you as you are. When you're ready, you can come back to center and try it on the other side. So if you're choosing this cross-legged option, you just place your right foot on the ground, cross your left leg over your right knee, gently rock from side to side a little bit to kind of get a feel for how it feels. Maybe then press your foot into the floor, shift your hips over to the left, and drop your knees to the right. Can you notice your breath here? And see again, how does being in what might be a somewhat constricted position change how you breathe? Would it be possible to take some really deep breaths here? Maybe take in a really deep breath and then slowly, slowly, slowly exhale. As you're ready, come back to center. And if pulling your knees in towards your chest feels good, go ahead and do that. If something else feels good, do that. Just take a moment to see if there's any movement that feels right before heading into Shavasana. And if you want to head right into Shavasana, you're welcome to do that. If you're still moving, take just a few more moments to really explore what your body wants before settling into stillness for a few minutes. And you can close your eyes for Shavasana. You might cover yourself up with a blanket. You might take a couple of deep breaths and just think about letting everything go as you exhale. So, that quote that I shared at the beginning, it's a political act to keep ourselves alive, to love ourselves as we are, and to work toward loving all of humanity and all of its various expressions. That quote by Jacoby Ballard. Just want to share it again as we're winding down. Maybe take a really deep inhale and sigh it out. You could start to find a little bit of movement and decide if you're ready to shift out of Shavasana into a new position. And decide if you'd like to bring your palms together in Anjali Mudra. And can you think of one thing that you love about yourself, or one thing you could work toward loving about yourself? And then a moment to acknowledge that the practice of yoga is an ancient practice from the Indian subcontinent that has been attempted to be outlawed by colonialists and appropriated by many, but it's a practice that was very generously and is very generously shared with the rest of the world and benefits so many people. The generosity of the people who have chosen to share it is incredible. And thank you for practicing with me today.